Holy shit! Hi there! Hello again! How are you? How are you, my lovely perverts? I hope you're well, because I am well. It just took me 1.5 years of being fucking unwell to get to this point. But, surprise! Here I am, Fire Temptress here again, and yeah, how are you? How am I? You ask. Well, I am lots of things. Last year was fucking horrific. It had to do with my work life, and it affected my personal life. And my work life was a pure living hell for 1 year. And that was the whole of last year. The whole fucking year. Horrible. Horrible, horrible. I haven't checked my videos from last year, but there were not so many of them. But, yeah, last year went tits down. Sometimes that's a good thing, especially when you're getting fucked from behind, when you're tits down. But when your life goes tits down, that's not good. So yeah, so my work life was horrible, and I decided that changes have to be made. I have decided that years earlier, but last year was kind of like now. It has to be now. So yeah, last year I went through some serious thinking and planning. And I decided that last year, that when the year ends, come what may, I'll quit. I'll quit my current job. Because that I have been planning that for almost as long as I've been working, for the 13.5 years that I worked in my previous workplace as a seamstress. I decided at some point that I want to change careers. And when that was kind of like, oh, holy shit, I have to do that now, I did some serious thinking. My plan A, which was to be a bartender, kind of like, when I sat down and thought about it, it was like, oh, hell no. Because that would mean weekend, working on the weekends and in the evenings. So my active, bubbly social life will just die. And the only people I hang out with are other bartenders and restaurant people. So that was kind of like very, very quickly I was like, I've been dreaming about this for like over 10 years, and now I just have to say goodbye to that dream. And I decided that, well, I still want to be on my feet and work with my hands, because I'm good with my hands. That's what I've noticed, and that's what I've been told. So, last year, Mr. Vegan, he told me about welding. And he also told me that there's this company that actually will have this very intensive short course that will give you it will teach you welding. And it will give you I have no fucking idea what the word is in English. But in the end you do welding exams, and you get, when you pass, you are an official welder with certain something. But yeah, so that course started this early February, and it will end next week. So I am officially a student still at the moment. Welding students, even though I have been working in the company since early May. But as a student, I'm still learning. And after next week, I will be an official worker in the company welding shit. So it has been, this year, the course has been extremely fucking interesting, but extremely fucking exhausting. It really, like, sucked me dry. And I didn't have much moisture to suck after last year. So yeah, the whole course has had me very, very, very exhausted. But luckily we had a summer break in July, 3 weeks of vacation, which I haven't had in like ever. Ever since I started studying clothes in 2010. After that I have not had a long summer vacation, and it has been like a week here, week there, or 2 weeks maximum in one, like in a row. But now I have 3 weeks of summer vacation, which for me felt like a fucking horrible luxury. So something happened, someone just pushed the reset button on my back, and I have been like this ever since. So I have been well, fucking around since the last video from May last year, my suspension hanging around video, and some fuck buddies have gone and some old ones have come back, and there are some people who just have stuck like glue. And well, I have a few newbies that I have to tell you about, but let's start with my course, my welding course. And when I went there, I was kind of like, well, welding is a men's world, and I will fit right in there because I am a lecherous old man inside, so I get well with older guys. I can get along well with older guys. Most of my friends are male, and most of them I fuck, but that has nothing to do with it. No, absolutely fuck all. But yeah. So I was like, okay, cool, this will be fun. I'm in the course, I'm not here to have friends. I get along with people, I can chat with them, but I'm not here to make friends, I'm here to make a career. So I got really surprised. There was a teacher, a welding teacher, who specializes in certain welding techniques, and the first time he introduced himself, he was kind of like, some people call me sensei, some people call me the devil itself, perkele in Finnish. It's the word perkele, it's much more, there's more feeling to it than the devil. So I was kind of like, I raised my eyebrows like, what? What the fuck? And then when he first had his, when he first taught us a class of welding, afterwards my reactions was like, who the fuck, what the fuck, what the fuck, who the fuck, what? I was confused. He was such an interesting person. I was seriously confused. And my reaction is like, I want to befriend this guy. I want to get to know him. He's like a breath of fresh air. And then when we started to have the welding classes, and he was one of the teachers, there were 2 teachers teaching us to like physically weld. And he was there, and at some point I noticed that he had a very peculiar sense of humor. Very, very dark, very, how I love it, very, well, a very twisted sense of humor, and I fucking love twisted sense of humors, and it just clicked with me. So I was seriously, I want to know this guy, I want to learn to know this guy, and because his personality was so intriguing, I also decided to put on the flirt and just throw myself at him and see if anything happens. And so yeah, I started to spend time with him and just chat with him and turn on the flirt and see what happens. And quite clearly at some point at first he was confused. He was like, why the fuck does she want to spend time with me? And then at some point he started to realize that I think there's something going on. And he flat out asked me. and I kind of hinted that my main goal is to be friends with you, but... And, well, he was in a interesting situation back then, and he is still in a very interesting situation. I will not go deeper into that. That's his private life, and it's none of your business, perverts. But let's just say that we became best of friends, and it seriously surprised me. I think it surprised him as well. He's older than me, 8 years older. I turned 40 this year, so do the math. Wink, wink, if you can. And but we are best of friends at the moment. We constantly chat. We go jogging, and we spend a lot of time just yeah, a good friendship. I could almost say that he's one of my best, if the best friend at the moment. And I did not expect this to happen when I started the course in February. So yeah, I was taken by surprise, and I can bet you anything that he was taken by surprise. But there's this constant flirt. One thing that I noticed from him very early on, that he has a very dirty humor as well. And sometimes when I was welding, and he'll come there and give me some do some teaching, he will say something very inappropriate, and then he will blush and giggle at his own thing and go away. And I realized that this guy has because welding world in Finland is mostly men, and out of the 15 people in our course, only 2 of us are girls. So yeah, that's kind of like the whole welding scheme in that big ass company. But I noticed that he was not used to making dirty jokes with women around. He was used to making dirty jokes with the lads, amongst the boys. So he was kind of like telling dirty jokes, realizing I was a girl, and then just blushing and going away. And I decided I'm gonna push him. I'm gonna push him, and I'm gonna do dirty jokes back and make him blush, make him go away. And I did that, and it became our thing. It really became our thing. I love pushing buttons, so I started to push his buttons and see every time I saw him blush and just mumble and go away, it was like, success. Fuck yeah, I'm good. So, but yeah, we still have a flirt going on. It's kind of, the situation is kind of like, will they or won't they do something in the future? But I love what we have at the moment. If at some point we're gonna do any physical activities, that's just a bonus. I told him when I got to know him, I told him that this relationship will go friendship first, and if we ever do anything, that's just a bonus. But I really want to be your friend, and we have an amazing thing going on. And he looks like this little blushing wallflower, but he's actually insanely sexual, and actually showed me some. He's an amazing writer. He has showed me writings of kind of like based on the workplace and his life, and this awesome story which he has shared to me, which has been awesome. But he also shared to me a text that he wrote, kind of like a fantasy of a teacher-student situation at the company. And when I read that text, I was like, fuck, this sounds so familiar. This sounds like exactly how I have approached him, like the student in the text approached the teacher in the text. And there was this, let's just say that last Friday, yesterday, there was this moment in the text when the student has only like sexy underwear underneath this overall, because we have overalls at work because we weld. You got UV light, you get shit, you get everything, so you have to have overalls, you have to have hoods and masks and everything. So in this text, this student had like underwear, sexy underwear under the overalls and nothing else. And I decided when I read the text that one day I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna go greet him at the place, the welding. Holy shit! My English has gone rusty because I haven't been using it for the last year. So sadly, but yeah, I went to nowadays I worked in shifts, morning shift, evening shift, and after my morning shift on Friday I go see him because my work ends at 2:30 and his work ends at 3:30. So I was going to greet him, and I decided last Friday that I'm gonna surprise the fuck out of him. So I went to meet him with only having lacy underwear under my overalls, and yeah, so I went to meet him, and there was the other teacher, and he always kind of like goes away because he wants to leave us alone, because everyone at the company knows that me and the teacher fucks, except for me and the teacher. But hey, it's a girl and it's a boy, they get along, and everyone gossips about us that we fuck. I knew that will happen, but it happened on day one when I started to talk to him. So that was interesting how fast it happened. Anyway, so oh yeah, I decided I have to give a nickname to the teacher. In Finnish, I call him Itse Perkele, the devil himself. But because he said he's a teacher, and he said that someone calls him Sensei, so he will be Mr. Sensei. I will never call him that to his face, but as a nickname it will be very appropriate for him. He's Mr. Sensei. So I went there, and Sensei's colleague, we chatted. He chatted with me, how's it going, and la la la, happy weekend, and he left. And then me and Sensei were there for a while, and then when everyone was gone, we hugged. He wants to keep our friendship kind of like not so obvious at work, because if people will see us hugging, they really will tone up the gossip. Anyway, so at some point when we were just the two of us, and then we hugged. During the hug, I was kind of like told him that this might be the proper moment to tell you that I only have underwear under this overall. And he was quiet for a while, and I cannot remember what he said, but I think it was in the lines of, "Oh, right." So after that we chatted there for like half an hour, and he was constant all the time. He just I noticed him staring at me, staring at the overalls, and thinking what it looks like underneath. And that was so much fun. That was what I intended. I intended to make him awkward, and because it was his fantasy that he wrote down himself, and I was doing the fantasy. So I know he had like this monologue going inside his head that he most definitely did not tell me, but I noticed him just staring at me at some point, clearly thinking about stuff. And then at some point, he very suavely kind of like, what if I told you that I don't believe you? So at some point we went behind the corner, because the door was locked, but people do have keys and can come in. And I don't give a fuck if people see me like in my undies, but he really has, I am a student. And if anyone knows about groping and stuff, then he will have a conversation with people, and I do not want to cause him that. So we went behind a corner where people will not see us, and I just opened the buttons of my overall, and ta-da! I had lacy black bra and lacy underwear, and he was so cute. He was blushing all the time, and when he looked at me for a while, he kind of like put his hands like in front of his groin area and just like, yes, quite. So, that was fun. And because of the whole of yesterday, at work, I did have a t-shirt when I worked, but when I was welding, I just had like panties and t-shirts. And welding is very hot, so I was kind of like soaking in my own juices, and I was maybe a bit horny at the thought of going to see Mr. Sensei with only underwear under my overall, not knowing what will happen or how he will react. So that was a very fun yesterday. The day. What happened yesterday evening? I will return to that, but before, it's one of the juiciest thing that has happened to me in a small while. I will return to that quite soon, but yeah, Mr. Sensei, he's adorable, and I love teasing the fuck out of him, and he's a good friend nowadays. So interesting relationship, very interesting relationship, and I really enjoy it, and I think he enjoys it too. I think that's what he's told me a few times. So yeah, it's been fun. It's been fun. Fun. My life is fun nowadays. And but yeah, I have people who I fucked last year. They've gone. Some Mr. Vegan moved to Germany, sadly, and some people have just dropped off. But some people are just there. Mr. Big. Very rarely, Mr. 19, which is I had Mr. Sensei at some point when he sent me the porn text. He asked me about my sexual fantasies, and I wrote him a very long list of like my kinky fantasies, and I also wrote this kind of like my ultimate sexual encounter, my fantasy sexual encounter. And I wrote down what I do with Mr. 19 every time. So I can translate that text into English and put it somewhere, or read it out at some point. Story time with Fire Press. That would be fun, won't it? And but yeah, and then there's new people. An old friend from a gaming community. I went to see him in January. I will make an own video of that. A very adorable guy. We always got along when we had live meetups, and now we get along. I'm gonna meet him in approximately 2 months. So after that meetup, I might make a video and tell us our whole history and our current history, which the sexual history that started in January. And then there is not that many fuck buddies at the moment, but I don't have that much time at the moment because I do shift working. So every other week is evening week, and I can't see people then because when I get home around like 11:30 p.m, people they can't come around. But I have a few nice relationships, and early this year in February, March, I went to see a semi-new guy. From 3 years back, I met him at a friend's cabin, and I went to his place earlier this year for the second time, and now we did something. We did not do this, but we did some touchy-feely, hanky-panky. I'm gonna talk about that later. I have stuff. I have people. You know me. I collect these people. I just go around, fuck people, and collect fuck buddies, which I have. Some went, some came, literally. But yeah, my newest. I have 2 new people. Very, 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 very new. The other guy is like from 2 weeks back. 2 weeks back, I went to a cabin again, a friend's cabin, which I have been like. This is the 3rd summer I went there. And I decided that the guy I just mentioned, I have to give him a nickname. He's also Mr. Vegan, but that's not. He's a biology student, but Mr. Biology is too much of a mouthful. So I will call him Mr. Climbing because we clicked instantly with bouldering, climbing, wall climbing. So he will be Mr. Climber. yeah, let's go with that. And so on the same cabin, I met Mr. Clymer 3 years ago. He was supposed to come to the cabin. That happened 2 weeks ago, but he didn't come there. So I decided, well, let's just chill and have fun with the boys at the cabin. Just don't fuck anyone, please. That was my attitude with myself. Just be cool. Don't do anything. Just have fun. Enjoy the weekend at the cabin and on the lakeside. So I went there. Friday, it was just basic fun, drinking, grilling, having fun with the boys, talking shit. And then on Saturday, it was very interesting. We took a small boat and we just started cruising around the small islands and the lake area, just saying hi to the neighbors. And then my host, who lives at the cabin, says that we're gonna go pick up some American boys. I was like, okay. And these two boys were extremely cute. They are Finnish American. Their father is Finnish and their mother is African American Egyptian, actually. So they were this very delicious milk chocolate colored, very sexy young lads, full of tattoos and adorable as fuck. I think they were like aged 23 and 28. And I actually started talking with the younger guy. I have this thing for the darkest skin. I seriously do have a thing for the darkest skin. It's yummy as fuck. So I decided that I'm not going to put my flirt on, but I'll just chat with the boys and just enjoy the view. And I really got along with the younger one. And then they joined us, and then we still went around, said hi to people, visited some cabins and talked with people, and at some point we went to our friend's cabin, back to the cabin with the Yankee boys who had been living in Finland for like a few weeks. And well, lots of sauna, lots of nudity, and I just decided that I'll just enjoy the view. I looked at the cute brothers a lot, and then at some point from one of the cabins that we visited, but he wasn't there, this father and son came around to my friend's cabin. So there were lots of us, just a big bunch of people just going to the sauna and barbecuing and having a drink, having a laugh. And at some point when we all were at the sauna, it's kind of like me standing naked on the lake, and then there was me and the older guy. He's a very handsome, kind of like graying beard and long hair. And then at some point the brothers went for a swim, and the guy's son went for a swim, and there was just me and this older sexy graying guy. And we're just looking at the view. And at some point I turned to him and I told him that even though it is nice to look at sexy young male bodies, I actually have a thing for grey foxes. And I looked at him, and it was meant as a neutral. Okay, my cats are having a fight. Okay, they'll manage. But yeah, so it was meant as a kind of neutral comment and a compliment. And I saw from the guy's face that he really liked it. I've heard from older gentlemen that not that often younger ladies approach them and tell them that, hey, you're old, but I still think you're sexy. It's weird that doesn't happen very often, because I think older guys are sexy as fuck. They seriously are sexy as fuck. That's why I like collecting them and fucking with them. But it's not that common, it would seem. So, sorry, I'm going to bite my nails a bit. So, at some point we gathered around, we came from the sauna and we sat down, we had drinks and socializing, and then at some point the father's son left, and then the Yankees kind of like rolled some pot, and everyone else started to smoke. except for me and the father. And during the time when we sat there, we had like insane eye contact and insane, like, yeah, he really liked my compliment, and he took a liking to me. He really started to look at me and kind of like wink at me and make eye contact, and I was like, oh fuck, I cannot go anywhere without kind of like, yeah, flirting or doing something, thinking dirty thoughts. So at some point I talked with him, just talked about this and that and about ourselves. And when his son went away, and when everyone else was drunk and stoned out of their fucking minds, and they were like, yeah. So at some point I kind of like winked at the father guy and asked him, shall we go and sit at the pier? And he was like, yeah, let's. And there was kind of like this very, very big sexual tension in the air. And when we went to the pier, we sat there, and I just, you know, when people sit kind of like facing each other, someone sits with their legs like that, and someone sits on their laps with the legs like that. So the groins are very close together. So immediately I sat on his lap like that, and we were just there. And we started to nuzzle and kiss like fucking crazy. And at some point he told me that, drink. It's Saturday, motherfuckers, I'm gonna have a drink. But yeah, so we start. It was like instant on the pier, and it was very late. It was like 10 p.m. ish, and the dark was setting already. So we were kind of like, even though we were there on the pier, and anyone who would have gone past with the boat would have seen us, it was so dark that we had the cover of darkness with us. So yeah, we were on the pier, and he told me that he loves cunnilingus, giving it to women. And I was kind of like, yeah, I would seriously fucking love that. I was horny as fuck, and I bet he was as well. So he had a plan. My friends, the cabin situation is such, the cabin where we were hanging out at, and there was this terrace and everything, the cabin has been built by my friend's grandfather. So he spends all of his time there and entertains guests there. But like a few hundred meters to the side, there's another cabin that's more modern, and that's where my friend's parents usually hang out and entertain people. So this father figure was kind of like whispering to me that our friends, common friends' parents are not at the cabin. So shall we see if the door is open and go do stuff there? And I was like seriously excited about that thought, because I love fucking or doing sexy things in places I shouldn't. And I'm an exhibitionist, and I love doing the dirty in places I shouldn't. That really turns me on. And especially when I have to keep quiet. I am loud. You perverts know that I am loud. You have heard me being loud. But when I am in public places where I have to be quiet, that is also a massive turn on for me, because I really have to control myself. And so when he asked that, shall we go to the other cabin and see if the door is open, I was just like, fucking take me there and lick the crap out of my clitoris. So we holding hands, cute as anything. We went to my friend's parents' cabin, and there was this kind of like this terrace area that was like it was like a room a room. It was a terrace, but a room. It had like big windows and a glass door. And we got there, and he was kind of like, it's good enough. So there were benches, so he took some pillows from the benches, put it on the floor, and I went and laid on my back on the floor, and just taking... Actually, I only had a dress on. I didn't have a bra, I didn't have panties. So at some point, I just went and laid there and just lifted my skirt. And while we were walking there to the cabin, he told me that he's a very shy guy. And my inner dominatrix kind of like fired up with that. I was kind of like, really? Really? But then once we got to that cabin, and once I went to the floor and lifted my skirt, like, get on with it. You know what to do. And he really digged it. He just went for it. He was like... He was good. He was insanely good. He was very aggressive and assertive, and he licked the fuck out of my private areas. He went for it. He was like a dog. He was just lapping away. And it felt so good. And I have had a few drinks. Had a few drinks. And I was horny as fucking anything. And he really, really used his tongue. Insanely good. Insanely good. He really loved cunnilingus. He just went for it. And he did that for a while. And I bit my fist. I had to focus so fucking hard of don't make a sound, because if I make sounds, it will be heard in the other cabin. And because as far as I knew, this father figure had a wife and children, so I didn't know how appropriate it was for just sucking a random girl. I did not ask him at that moment. I was kind of like, he was sexy as fuck, and he wanted to lick me. So I was like, yep, bring it on. I can't go anywhere where I'm surrounded by male people and drink and not have sex. It's just, sex follows me everywhere. It just happens. So I'm there, he's licking me. And at some point, I in my euphoria, I told him to just stick some fingers in, and he did, and like pure sexual bliss, and yeah, when he said earlier that he's very shy, at that moment there was no shyness there. At some point, he lifted me up and he went and laid on his back, and he said, "Sit on my face." I was like, "Yeah, I've been here before, so I know what to do." So I just sat on his face and just grounded like fucking crazy, and oh, awesome. And at some point he was like, "Hey, let's do just 69." And I'm kind of like, okay, well, I won't suck your dick because I have a thing with, you know, being safe and using rubbers, and we didn't have a rubber, but I just like masturbated him while he was just he really loved to eat that pussy. It was his thing. It was really, really, really his thing. And oh my god. At some point, I was so I was really spent. I was kind of like, I'm loving this like crazy, but I've had so much enjoyment that it's really, I'm getting tired. And this was Saturday evening, and the next day, quite early, I had to drive back home, like 4 hours of driving, and like telling him that I am loving the fuck out of this, but I am getting sleepy. I am exhausted from all this sexual enjoyment, and I have to go to sleep. And he was like, okay, he has work tomorrow. I was like, what the fuck? Luckily, he didn't have it early in the morning, but he was like, I was like, okay, you have to go to sleep. Forget about me. You're the one who's like in trouble at this moment. But okay, so we left that cabin and put the pillows back where it was and shut the door, and I just hoped like crazy that my orange hair wasn't everywhere, which it normally is. It's my orange hair. It goes everywhere. It's like a ninja hair. But yeah, so when we came out of the cabin, he was kind of like taking me back to our friend's common friend's cabin. We realized like, okay, it's like midnight and it's dark. There's no one there. Everyone's gone to sleep. So I was kind of like, well then, I had this very small building with just 2 bunk beds in it, so it's just for a place to sleep, and I always have that to myself. So I was kind of like, let's go to my little shed, and I have a rubber in my wallet, so let's fuck. I want to fuck you. I was very straightforward about that. But when we got to the cabin, I got my wallet, I opened it, I was like, where the fuck is the rubber? And I realized that I didn't have a rubber in my wallet. And I felt like a fucking idiot. I always have a fucking rubber, always. I always carry a rubber with me, always, because you never know what happens wherever I go. Like, this was a perfect example. So I was like, I don't have a rubber. We can't fuck. So we exchanged phone numbers so we can chat on WhatsApp, because we were both kind of like, yeah, we have to do this again properly. And at some point I was kind of like, yeah, are we going to have this awkward conversation that you have a wife? And he said that, no, it's all cool. It's all okay. And I was like, I have to go to sleep and you have to go to sleep as well so you can go to work. So I was kind of like, okay, let's have this conversation later. But yeah. So we have a fuck date in a week in Helsinki. He works as a doctor in Helsinki and in another place. And he does weekend work and he commutes a lot. So in a month, on Saturday, I'm gonna go to Helsinki, and then, yeah, let's see. I'm gonna have some serious ass, awesome kind of cunnilingus, and then we'll fuck. And I am so fucking happy because he is sexy as anything. He's like fucking yeah. And I love guys with long hair, so. So that's in a month. And I just realized that I haven't given him a nickname. Calling him Mr. Father will be very awkward because I don't have a daddy thing. And yeah, so I might call him Mr. Doctor. But when we see in a month, I'll have to see actually the how it goes. And after that, I will give him an official nickname. But for now, let's call him Doctor, Mr. Doctor. Mr. Silver Fox, yum. So that was 2 weeks ago. He's the second newest person in my life. And the newest person in my life is from yesterday. And before I go to that, I am thirsty and my well has dried out. So wait a minute, I'll go grab something from my fridge. Be right back. And I'm back, hello. Cats didn't knock over my shit, so that's good. So, drink. That's the stuff. Strawberry long drink by Hartwell Original. This is this summer's. They come with different tastes every summer, and this is one of them from this summer. And this is orgasmic. I love it. So drink. But yeah, yesterday. I had Mr. Marblebot in my life for a while, but we haven't seen each other since last year. So I haven't done any spanking since I can't remember when. And I have not done any serious tying from God knows when. I haven't doing any domineering stuff from God knows when. Years. So now that I had my reset and my rest in July, I decided that I've also been very absent from the local kinky scene. I have gone to every party but not the meetups, and I've been very, very absent. So I decided that this is the year I'm gonna get myself a sub and I'm gonna have the time of my life doing stuff to them. And then I think it was in July, I went to the local kinky scene Munch, because there was this one person I was interested in. They sounded good on text. We have this server on Discord. The kinky scene has a server on Discord where people chat, and there are like different chat rooms, and one person set up kind of like looking for a dominatrix and looking for a kind of like a companion. So I decided that from previous experience that I have to see a person live before I approach them. I have been approached with people who sounded good on text, had a good time chatting with them. Cat. Hey. Yeah, now it went away. So I decided to go to the Munch to see this guy who made this ad, this looking for, and he seemed okay-ish. Oh yeah, as I was saying before, the cat interrupted me, that I have been approached by people, had very interesting chats with them, they have felt normal, and then I've seen it live, and your reaction is like, turn around and run the fuck away. So I decided that nowadays I have to just see people live first before I approach them. And I went to the Munch, and I did not talk to the guy straight, but he sat around the same table I was. And at some point I listened to a conversation between him and another guy talking about kinky stuff. And he seemed normal, so after the Munch I sent him a message that, shall we go for a cup of coffee? I am interested on a friend basis. I will not be your partner, but I can have kinky stuff as a friend. And he was like, okay, sure, let's see. So we met up, we went for coffee. It was a disaster. He seemed interesting at the Munch, but when we were there 2-on-2, it was kind of like this wet hen. This like, nope. There was no connection there. None whatsoever. And if I want to have a fuck buddy or a kinky playmate, there must be a connection, a mental connection. There has to be a click where personalities click. And it was so far from clicking that it really like, nope. But I had decided that I want to find a playmate, and I was very desperate. It had been years. I was desperate, so my attitude was like any port in a storm. So after the coffee, I thought about things and sent him a very neutral, kind of like, we talked about stupid everyday stuff, because talking about kinky stuff publicly for him was a source of anxiety. So that also kind of like got me like, yeah. So, but I sent him a message because I was like, any port in a fucking storm, I am desperate. So I sent him a message that, is there a place that he feels relaxed so he can talk about kinky stuff? And we planned a date in a bar, and that was supposed to happen a week ago. And he said that we could go like sit somewhere in the corner, and then he'll be relaxed, and then he can talk about this stuff. So we had planned that date for last Saturday, for a week ago. But a week ago, during the week, there was this random guy from the scene that said that there's this picnic, live music barbecue happening somewhere in a small like suburbia in my town. And then the guy who made this kind of like, he's going there with a few friends from the scene, and anyone who wants to join us are welcome. And the guy who made this comment, I was thinking, I also remember seeing him at the same munch where I saw this wet hen, and then I saw his introduction in the Discord, and I was okay. There's this submissive man who likes like ropes and spanking, and I was like, I love ropes and spanking. And I remember seeing that guy in the munch. He was not on the same table. He was kind of like in a booth somewhere talking to people, and I remember thinking kind of like, okay, he felt interesting, very social guy, blah 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 blah, blah. And kind of, I was looking around the whole munch, kind of like, interesting people, not interesting people. You are interesting, you're not. So looking around and kind of like browsing, because I am looking for company, kinky company. So I kind of like approached this wet hen that's, shall we go to this meetup, this picnic? And he was like, sure, let's go there. So I was like, phew, I'm out of my date, my 2-on-2 date with him, and I can go to a picnic to see someone who actually seems interesting. So a week ago, I went to the picnic, and the guy, I have to think of a nickname for him now. There are a few ones that might suit him, but might not be very proper. He's the first man let's not go into that yet, but he is a wee bit shorter than me, even without my platforms on. So in Finnish I call him pornokääpiö, which is porn midget. So pornokääpiö in Finnish sounds much better than porn midget in English. So I will not call him Mr. Midget, but I will think of a nickname for him at some point. But let's just call him. Let's not give him a name yet. Okay. So a week ago I went to the picnic, and this guy. Okay, I'm gonna call him Midget in this video. Please don't be offended. Please, but I cannot think of another nick at the moment. You will get an official nickname later, but no, today you're Midget. Suck it up. Yeah, is your dom talking now? You're a midget today. So yeah, Midget was there at the picnic, and for the love of God, I forget how people look like. It's embarrassing, but it's how my brain works. My brain is kind of like, I meet people, and then when I go home or anything, my brain thinks, oh yeah, their face is, by the way, it's unimportant information, let's just throw it in the bin. And I forget how they look like. So when I was going to the picnic, I sent him messages that, where are you at the park, and do you have something I can recognize you from, because I cannot remember how you look like. So he was reading a pink book, so I recognized the pink book. So when I went there, he was there by himself, and I was like, what the hell? Because I thought that he was there with other kinky people. In the end, they couldn't make it, so he was there by himself. So I went there, and I was like, hello! And I spread this picnic cover thingy. And we were there, just the two of us, for a while. And we insanely hit it off. We just started to chat, and he was a very interesting guy, and it seems that he really thought the same about me. So we just blah, 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 chatted like crazy, and it's like instant. Sometimes you just meet people, you open your mouth, and you realize that, yep, this is a thing. What thing it is, I don't know yet, but this is a thing. This is someone I am getting along with, like crazy good. Sorry. I'm gonna scratch my hair. There we go. So yeah, we clicked instantly. And then at some point there was this couple who came. They had their own cover and they sat to the side. And at some point this wet hen came and sat with us, with me and Midget, on the same cover thingy. And then I was very rude and kind of like just ignored him. I was talking because we had a conversation, me and the Midget had a conversation going on, so we continued on that. And then the wet hen started to kind of like comment and join the conversation, and we were talking, and at some point, like an hour later, the wet hen said that, yep, I'm gonna go home. This was a very quick visit. And from the inside I was like, fuck yes, thank you, leave. So I can focus on the Midget. And then at some point the couple who was sitting on the side, they also left. And in the end we were there for the whole picnic and then some. And at some point kind of like there was rain clouds forming and kind of like, okay, shit, we both have to go home. And we were there and talked for like 4 hours, and just non-stop. And at some point when I realized that we clicked as people, I got seriously interested in him as a possible playmate. And afterwards we've been chatting and talking, and he realized at some point that I was interested in him. And as he said it himself, he actually got turned on by that when he realized that I was hunting him. So yeah, there was common mutual interest in the air. And as we were packing our stuff, I was kind of like, well, shit, we only live once. And I told him that I came to the picnic because of him, because I was looking for company, I was looking for a sub, and he felt interesting. And he was very, wow, you're very straightforward. So as we were leaving, we was kind of like, okay, let's keep chatting on Discord and let's set a play date. And afterwards, when I got home and I was really thinking about how we got along and how the picnic went, I wrote him a lot and told him that I am seriously looking for a playmate, and you seem interesting, and I know we like the same things, so let's have a play date. And then we chatted for a while and we set the play date for yesterday, last Friday. And drink. And so yeah, yesterday after work I went to his place. Yesterday after I went to show my underwear to Mr. Sensei. After that I went home, horny as fuck. The whole week I have been like planning and fantasizing and everything I will do to Midget yesterday. And we've been texting, and both of us clearly like waiting for Friday and waiting insanely what will happen. And so yeah, yesterday when I went to his place, I told him beforehand that I will be nervous. He's a new person. I have no idea how it will work. We clicked as people, but we click as kinky playmates. So I went there and I was nervous as fuck. I kept on talking, chatting, being restless, and at some point he was, do you want a glass of wine? I was like, fuck yeah, please. So we talked some more, had a glass of wine, and I started to kind of relax and wind down. And at some point I was kind of like, book, glass on the table, like, now I'm ready. So I have packed stuff with me, because I knew that he was interested in ropes and spanking, so I took my ropes with me, I took some spanking equipment, but I also took a collar, which he did not know of, and I didn't know if that was his thing. And I also took black leather gloves, because he told me that he had an experience in his childhood with a girl with leather gloves, and he still remembers that as his first kinky awakening. And yeah, so I knew that he had a thing for black leather gloves, so I packed them as well. But at first we kind of like went on the bed, and like with the father figure, Mr. Doctor, he sat like that, and I sat on his lap like that and hugged him, and I scratched his neck, which he insanely loved, and he scratched my neck, which I insanely liked, and I told him about my neck area, that it's like one big ass like horny area. So we chatted for a while, and I talked about my fantasies and what I liked doing and what I had with me. And I asked him, I knew he had one kinky experience, but I didn't know what he got to do. So I asked him, does he have experience in being in ropes? And he was like, no. So I was like, oh, I have ropes with me. Do you want to have some experience with ropes? And he was yes. So I took out my ropes, and it has been like years since I've seriously did some shibari bondage stuff. So I told him that I might be a bit rusty, it might be a bit awkward at first when I try to figure things out. And it took for a while for me to remember some basic knots and ties. But once I figured that one out, I just went for it. And because it was his first time with ropes, I always start with the same thing, like put your hands together, and I tied his wrists. And when I tied his wrists, I asked him, how do you feel? I could saw from his body language and his expressions that he was fucking loving it. So I took the end of the rope and just wound it around him, so it was like this. And I really put on the aggression, put on the domineering, put on the sexual aggression, and he was like, wow, really sold. And at some point I put his hands behind him, and he was in a bunny tie. And be you with boobs or not, male, female, whatever, be you whatever gender, seeing someone like this really turns me on like fucking crazy. I like how the upper torso, how it widens up, and you're vulnerable and you're there. So I did the bunny tie on him and teased his chest area and nipples, and he was just only in his underwear, and he was constantly bulging. So it was awesome. And he was like instantly in the subspace, and I started to finally get myself in the dom space, and I really went for it. So in the end, then I made, I can't remember the tie's name, but when you have your hands here and you get the rope here, so I did that to him, and then he was sitting cross-legged, so I tied his ankles together, and then I pressed him like in a ball tie, and he was like a very tight. Not many people bend like he bent, and I was just pressing him there and just forcing him in a position, an awkward position, and he's a kind of like, he's a struggler. He was constantly like, I can't move, holy shit, this is awesome. And I'm just caressing his skin and scratching him and constantly asking him, because it was his first time, asking him that, are your hands okay? No numbing, no weird tingly sensations. Can you breathe? Are you okay? Constantly checking on him, because that's my job as a dom, to make sure he's okay. And but yeah, it was, he enjoyed it and I enjoyed it, and I got to kind of like really be very intimate, very, very in the moment in a dom space. And at some point I opened him and I flipped him on his stomach. His hands are still tied behind his back, and then I did a hog tie, which is one of my ultimate favorites. And then I've done that, he was struggling again. He's like, I can't move, I'm loving. We both had an awesome time. I got to do shibari and being a dom. It's been so long. It's been so fucking long. I forgot how it felt. I was so happy. He was very happy. And at the same time, I love very shitty humor in a good way. The worse the humor, like horrible puns and very wrong sentences in the very wrong. He has a very twisted sense of humor, and he doesn't shut up like I don't shut up. And we just constantly giggled and laughed about stupid stuff both either of us were saying. And for me, humor is a big part of sex and kinky life. If I can also, in the heat of the moment, make a stupid joke, I love it when the other person does the same thing and we just giggle and laugh, and it does not break the mood. That's really important to me, and we talked about this, it was very important to him as well. So we clicked in so many ways, we had so much fun, and at some point I noticed I had a very long day. I was getting like overwhelmed and exhausted, because it's kinky play is very taxing. It is very very taxing. So at some point I kind of like took the ropes away from him, and then we cuddled for a while. I was caressing his where the ropes have shed marks and stuff, and caressing his skin, and he was also admiring his marks, and kind of like we had a break. We chatted for a while, but at some point I asked him how does he feel about collars, because I love collars like fucking hell. That's my kink, but it's not for me a sign of submission. No one owns the fuck. No one owns me. Period. I'm my own person. But I also, before a kinky scene, I love putting collars on people, because that sets the mood, and it's kind of like, you're mine now, bitch. So I asked him, what does he think about collars? And he was like, fuck yeah. So we talked about using it in our future play dates. That's the very first thing I will do, is to put a collar on him, and that's kind of like, you're mine now, bitch. And I had a collar with me. I looked through my almost 60 collars, and I found a nice neutral one that suited for men. So I took that and I put it on him. And all of a sudden we're playing again. We're both nude, and he was there hard as a rock with the collar on. And I also mentioned I have my black leather gloves with me, and he was like going insane. Seriously? And I put my leather gloves on, and we played some more. And for an hour, we just he was on his knees and I was dominating him, and with the leather gloves just sticking them in his mouth or covering his mouth, and just yeah. So and he has a habit of being really pre-cummy, so it was everywhere on my thighs, and I was kind of like clean that up, and he was happy to do it, and yeah, it was amazing. It was insanely amazing. And so we started at like 7 p.m. and in the end it was like 1 a.m. when we stopped playing, and we were both over the moon. And in the end, when everything was played with, we just cuddled, and there was this aftercare, and we talked. We talked a lot. And when he came down from his subspace, it was his first time in ropes, and he's very new in the scene, even though he's a bit older than me. I have no idea how old he is. I didn't ask, but I know he's older than me. So he was kind of like going through a lot, and I was just holding him and telling him, this is a safe space. if you want to be overwhelmed, you can be overwhelmed. If you want to talk, you can talk. If you want to be quiet, you can be quiet. So this is a safe space, and I am here for you. So we had a like aftercare and cuddle and talk, and then we talked about stuff he wants to try the next time, and how he liked the ropes and how he felt, and it was awesome. Yesterday was just perfect. It was just fucking perfect. And throughout the whole of playing, I was horny as hell, and I had the same lacy underwear on I had during work at during welding. So in the end, when I was putting my clothes on, I smelled my panties, and they were like in the wrong way ripe. They smelled horrible, and he also smelled them. Oh my god! And he was like, "Okay, I am submissive, but even I won't smell those panties." Too much for him. So yeah, it was kind of like they were horrible. My panties smelled horrible, very very horrible. But I just packed my stuff, and we hugged, and we were kind of like, yeah, our next play date is in 2 weeks, because next week is Turku Pride, so I'll be busy being gay as fuck, queer as fuck. So yeah, so afterwards I go home, I sent him a long message thanking him and saying goodnight, and so we have a next play date in 2 weeks, and I cannot fucking wait. And when I was leaving, I put my like thick ass platforms on, and I was like almost a head higher than he was, and I was like hugging him goodbye, and he was looking up, and he was like, I could see I have seen that expression before. He really loved me, that I was taller than him. I was like big and scary. So yeah. So now I have a kinky playmate who I click with like fucking crazy. And this will be an interesting journey to find out what we can find out about each other together, what we both like, and how they will click even more. Sorry, I'm still a bit tired from yesterday, even though he's the one that was like being put in awkward positions. It's also very, very emotionally taxing being in control of the situation. I loved it, but it was tiring, and because I haven't done it in years, it was something I have to get used to. But I had a insanely good time yesterday with Midget, and my life at the moment, I would love to make a video every week. I have reason to make videos every week, but I have to see with my shift work and my insanely busy schedule how I can make these videos. And at some point I have been interested in streaming, and I was thinking of making streams to see how that goes for me, and if it goes for you as well, perverts. Will you like to chat? Will you like chatting with me and asking me questions, or telling me to be a sassy ass dom and just be dom on video for you? I don't know. I have to see. But hello, Fire Temptress here. I have had a horrible time, but now I am enjoying my life to the fullest. And I had a very fun time doing this video again after too long a pause. And I hope to see you later. I hope you will see me later, and let's see what I can cook up for you guys to listen to, watch to, and enjoy. I will also make fetish videos at some point. Someone asked me for more army boots videos, and because I love my army boots, I said yes. So am I going to do foot stomping or humiliation video, or you tell me. You tell me what you want, and I'll try my best to do it. Yeah. But happy Saturday, perverts. Thank you for joining me, and I will have more drinks relax the fuck out. And because tomorrow I'm going to go see Heavy Metal Guy to his place and maybe do some fucking. I've been insanely horny for the whole week, and on Thursday I had this epic 1 hour fuck session with Mr. 19. So from Thursday and from yesterday, my hip areas is very tired. My muscles are tired from all the grinding and humping and fucking and everything. So yeah, but hi there, and yeah, I'm just gonna cut this short. My life rules. Thank you for joining me. And Fire Temptress out.